members. My name is Elijah Mungai, Head of Projects.
Good morning, members and Honorable Chair. My name is Adoka Sanyanga, Senior Finance Officer, Basic Education.
Honorable Chair, members, my name is Sarah Luta, Head Internal Audit.
Honorable Chair and members, I'm Hassan Duale, Head of Junior.
Honorable Chair and members, my name is Richard B., Director Supply Chain Management Services.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, my name is Mjumba Oboere, Head of Kenya Education Management Information System.
Yeah, oath.
I, John Ololtua, affirm that the evidence I shall give before this committee on the matters under its consideration.
Two members have walked in. I'd like them to introduce themselves, starting with the MP for Funyula.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Jambo Undo, MP Funyula. I'm a member of the committee.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. My name is Victor Koich Mandazi, MP for Chapalongo, member of this committee.
So members, as the PS signs, the PS is appearing for financial years 2023-2024 alone. And in the blue book, we are on page 182. Honorable Nabi has said that he wants to declare interest, so let's listen to the interest first.
Thank you, Chair. One of the members there, we grew up together, we've been friends for years, the head of primary education, Mr. Barongo. No, it won't affect my judgment.
Let me not comment. Yeah, so PS, procedurally, I know you are not new to this committee. You used to come as a PS for another state department. You have interest? Yes, go ahead and declare.
Yes, because I'm present, I have to declare that the accounting officer at the PS, while I was in primary school, used to work as one of the head of, as the sub-county head of education in Chepalungu constituency at Bomet County.
And therefore?
School student, surely.
Any other person with interest to declare no interest? So PS, I'll ask the Office of the Auditor General to read the paragraph. I give you the opportunity to read the response, and members who have questions will have the opportunity to ask additional questions. Where the matter is resolved, auditor, you state so and give a brief. Where it's not, you read an entire paragraph. So members, page 182 in the blue book, State Department for Basic Education, vote number 1066, paragraph 498, under basis for qualified opinion, 498, and supported interests balances. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Ministry of Education, State Department for Basic Education for the year ended 30th June 2024. Chair, the first issue was on unsupported interest balances. This issue has been addressed. Management has attached evidence of the unsurrendered AIE recovered, and we've confirmed the same. Thank you, Chair.
499, unconfirmed capitation for the free primary education, junior secondary school education, and free day secondary education. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The statement of receipts and payments reflects subsidies and grants and transfers to other government entities of 95,290,431,676 and 36,724 respectively. Further, the grants and transfers to other government entities payment include an amount of 9,047,709,890 in respect of free primary education capitation. The disbursement of the three funds to the respective schools is based on the students' enrollment in the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS. However, no documentary evidence was provided for audit to confirm the student enrollment data in NEMIS had been verified by the respective sub-county offices before disbursement of the funding. In addition, the NEMIS as configured does not have a cut-off date as it updates students' data on a continuous basis, making it difficult to confirm the number of students at a specific point in time. Further, the system does not register students without birth certificates or FAD students who have attained the age of 18 years. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, read the response.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the management response is as follows. The State Department for Basic Education acknowledges the audit observation regarding the verification of learner and enrollment data used in the disbursement of free day secondary education, junior secondary education, and free primary education capitation funds. The State Department wishes to clarify as follows. 1. Verification of enrollment data prior to disbursement. Learner enrollment data was captured and maintained in the National Education Management Information System through a multi-level process involving schools and the ministry headquarters. Sub-county directors can view administrative data, including enrollment, for them to make informed decisions. The ministry acknowledges that the verification process was not adequately documented and has since strengthened the audit trails and approval workflows to ensure that evidence of verification is retained and readily available for audit purposes through CHEMIS. Number 2, continuous updating of NEMIS data. The State Department confirms that NEMIS was designed as a live transactional system that continuously updates learner information to support transfers, admissions, progression, retention, and completion tracking. The absence of a formal cut-off mechanism during the audit period presented challenges in reconstructing learner numbers at a specific historical date. However, capitation disbursements were based on approved enrollment snapshots extracted from NEMIS for each funding cycle and not on continuously changing real-time figures. To address this concern, the State Department has initiated measures to strengthen data governance by introducing enrollment census dates, historical data archiving, and reporting functionalities that enable retrieval of learner numbers at specific reference dates. Honorable Chair, number 3, learners without birth certificates. The State Department wishes to clarify that although birth certificates have been the primary source for capture of learners uniquely, NEMIS did not exclude learners from admission to school due to lack of birth certificates. Recognizing that some learners, particularly those from vulnerable and marginal communities, may not possess birth certificates at the point of admission, the ministry introduced alternative identification mechanisms of using assessment numbers provided by NEC to ensure no eligible learner is excluded. This is because learners are continuously being assessed and records updated. Number 4, learners above 18 years. The State Department recognizes that some learners may legitimately remain in school beyond the age of 18 due to late enrollment, special needs, or other socioeconomic circumstances. Consequently, NEMIS doesn't exclude legitimate learners who are above the age of 18 years from registration or funding solely on the basis of age. Number 5, corrective measures implemented. The State Department has undertaken the following corrective actions. A, strengthen enrollment verification workflows at school, sub-county, county, and national levels. B, introduced enhanced audit trails and approval logs within CHEMIS. Further enhancement to be undertaken in CHEMIS include the following. A, establishment of enrollment snapshot and historical reporting capabilities to support audit verification. B, improvement of learner identification controls, while ensuring inclusion of vulnerable learners. C, enhancement of integration between chemists and other government data systems to improve data accuracy and integrity. D, institutionalization of periodic data quality assessments and reconciliation exercises. Whereas the State Department acknowledges the audit observations, it is implementing measures to strengthen enrollment verification, documentation, authenticability, and data governance within NEMIS, even though the identified weaknesses did not result in evidence of irregular capitation payments, but highlighted areas requiring stronger controls. They are being addressed through ongoing Kenya Education Management Information System, KEMIS, establishment. I think that is the end of that response for that question.
Yes, members, Nabi, and then we go to Marianne.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, you will notice that in paragraph 5D, actually 5B, from 5B, the accounting officer introduces an animal called chemist. The question is specific on NEMIS. He introduces chemist, and there are no underlying notes why we are changing from NEMIS to chemist. He doesn't even say why now part of the response is chemist as opposed to NEMIS. And the Chair, there and then lies my question. What evidence is placed before this committee that chemist is an upgrade of NEMIS? Number two, Chair, the accounting officer talks of census, which I'm aware one of it was carried. But there is no evidence, and even declaration publicly to this country, what did the census reveal? How many students do we have? And finally, Chair, the animal in the audit query has not been addressed, and this is the animal. A number of students, even now on my phone, Chair, I have schools which I will quote here. A number of students and pupils in a number of schools have not been captured and their money sent to schools. A school has an enrollment of 300. The only money they receive is 186. In fact, in one of the schools, Mukonge Primary, in Lugari Sub-County, only 34 learners were given money. I have tried to look here, the answer, why that happens, I can't see. And finally, Chair, the question of using birth certificate. I need evidence placed before this committee that you use numbers, the identifiers from NEC to allocate capitation money. There's no such evidence. He's alluded to that they use NEC identifiers. Not correct. I will need to be convinced.
Yes, Marianne.
Thank you, Chair. I am back at the audit query. The audit query talks about monies that were disbursed for students under NEMIS. And these funds, both for JSS and for free-day secondary education, cannot be accounted for. That is the query. From the response, Chair, response is too verbose, but that issue has not been addressed. The issue of this disbursement, who was the money going to, and who was it going to benefit, has not been addressed. And that is what the audit query needs to address. Chair, there are issues that the PS has raised about this system they use called NEMIS, and now introduction of what they are calling KEMIS. So, if you have a system, what was the system supposed to do? Because that is what the auditor went to see. You have asked Treasury to give you money. Treasury has disbursed money to you. You have disbursed money to various schools, and then you are complaining about this very system you are using to disburse money to the schools. Are we then saying that this money disbursed to the school got lost? Because that's basically what we are trying to say. We don't know. Number two, Chair, every sub-county has an education officer. Every sub-county, mine for example. And if I went to my sub-county education officer and asked that sub-county education officer, a school called Atebo Primary, how many students do I have? My sub-county education officer will give me from grade 1 to grade 6 or grade 9 if that school has grade 9. It will give me. And it will not take time until let me go count. They have the data, albeit manually, in their system, and they are able to give me that data. So when we are disbursing money, and that is where the audit query is, how are we disbursing money to schools or numbers of students we do not know when the sub-county knows, and the sub-county is a direct report to the ministry? What do they do with the data at the ground there? Because I thought that data comes all the way to the top. And you've heard in the introduction, Chair, we have an officer responsible for secondary schools. We have an officer responsible for JSS. What are they doing in the office? Because this is where the query and this is where the crux of the matter is. And this is where, Chair, even schools in our own constituencies, you've had Lugari, I can mention mine, that are not getting capitation. Yet they are entitled to capitation because at the time of budgeting, the PS came with numbers and said, I need X amount of money for capitation for schools, for students in free-day secondary school, X amount of money for capitation for schools in junior secondary school. And I dare tell you, Chair, I feed students in free-day secondary school. I get the data direct from my sub-county education. And any minute, even if I call him now, he'll give me the data. So how does the ministry then say, we want to change a system to KEMIS because the NEMIS is not working? How then, and data is down there. It is readily available. Before you submit the disburse money, why not ask for that data? If a system is not working, why not use Excel? Use something that can give you the data and send money to the right institutions and the right amount of money to those institutions.
Yes, Professor.
Chair, I sympathize with the PS because the answer you have been given here is obviously wrong. Erroneous and does not speak to what happens on the ground. Vitu kwa ground in tofauti. Things kiza ground. Things on the ground are completely different from what you have given here.
Point of order, Chair. Chair, we are not in Linda Mwananchi rally. And you need to caution one of bringing things that can raise some of us' emotions.
Chair.
Oundo, please stick to the...
Yeah, I'm sticking to them. I'm telling the PS.
You will have opportunity to talk outside.
Yeah, I'm telling the PS, the information, the response has been given is completely erroneous. It's not actually what happens on the ground. I want to give you a school, my constituency, called Milimani Primary School. Has got about 300 something students, learners. I don't know when did it change from pupils, students and learners. Will guide us how to refer to them. The school got 75 shillings as capitation. 75 as capitation. And you see, through your chair, when I asked the head teacher, HOI, nowadays I called HOI, head of institutions, they told me even registering learners in the NEMIS system is a very complicated process that you can actually see the whole night, and yet the data you feed in by the morning, it will have been rejected. That's why I sympathize with UPS. I do not know what you will do. Because you are the ministry, from the headquarters to the board to the last person on the ground, is a very complicated cartel. Pure cartel. So, this response, I'm sorry to say, to tell UPS, does not speak to what happens on the ground. We might have to look another way of resolving this issue, but this misresponse is sorry to you. I want to use the word bad and I need your indulgence. It's just a hoax. Thank you.
Yes, Mugo.
Chair, thank you very much, Chair. And I want to join fellow honorable members in saying that this query, PS, I think the query is very direct. If you look at the paragraph, the first paragraph of the query, the last sentence, however, no documentary evidence was provided for audit to confirm the student enrollment data in NEMIS had been verified by the respective sub-county officers before disbursement of the funding. Do you have that documentary evidence? Normally, what is that evidence? Or what are the checks and the balances that you normally perform before you disburse the funding? This is the query that we're asking. Who checks this system? Who audits this system? PS. Because even these days there is something we call system audit. Do you have a report of maybe the system audit, the audit trails and so forth for this system? A report you can provide to this committee to show that before you disburse the funds, these are maybe this is a checklist. Before you disburse the funds, check number 1, I don't know what, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I think if you can specifically focus on the query, and we will not even need to know about chemis for now, because I don't know whether does it exist chemis. We know we have just seen it here, because the query is purely on NEMIS. So you resort to us on NEMIS. If NEMIS is dead, then you tell us this NEMIS is dead, but now there is chemis, and how did it come about? What was the cost? Did it solve the issues of NEMIS? Does it capture the birth certificate now, the 18 years? I think the query, as I join members, the query PS is not adequately responded to. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yes,
I have a proposal.
Just a minute. Even me, I've got something to say about it. Yes, Namwar?
Chair, I want...
Then you give your proposal. Yes.
I want to join my fellow colleagues in what they have been able to say or allude to. It is important for us to ensure that whatever we are discussing here gets to the attention of the common mwananchi down there. Our learners and most of the schools are going through a tough time in trying to get their capitation. Honorable Chair, as we speak, when I called one of the schools today in the morning, schools opened on Monday. The HOI, head of institution, tells me, I think, PS, you need to listen to this. The food that you brought has not gone to the school. And I told you before that...
you get food.
Of course, why not?
Why should you get food?
Because you have a lot.
Namwar, stick to the chair. Don't listen to... Mariana, I'll move you to come and sit close to Nabi. I see you are distracting him. Please, or close to me. Yes, continue, Honorable Namwar. Continue.
Okay, maybe that was a commercial break. But the chair, I had discussed this with the PS, and I told him the reason, and if somebody from Nakonek is here, you are not doing your work correctly. Why do you have to deliver food late when we are closing schools? And up to now, food is not in schools, in those schools that you are targeting. So Nakwanek, pull up your socks. And we have been telling you this all along. And you seem to be coming from Northeastern where this issue is even greater than Turkana. Fine. Why I'm saying that is the HOI is struggling to fill the data for chemists. I know you have timelines and you've issued instructions to HOIs. Now, my take, and I don't want to delve into what has been raised by the audit, this is actually significant. When you are talking about billions, and all the response that is telling us is just narrative. We are not even being demonstrated on how this money was disbursed, what was not disbursed, where, to who. My take will be on transition. PS, if you are transitioning from NEMIS and you are transitioning to chemists, now we are structuring or we are introducing the Education Act, the Basic Education Act 2026, that will talk about the financial management and school charges for pre-primary or for pre-basic education or education. Now, what is your take, even as you discuss all this that is in a mess already? Chair, do we need a systems audit, so that we can be able to understand further how we are going to transition from whatever, NEMIS, chemists, basic education, the Basic Education Act 2026, that is still a bill, and whatever. So we have to be prepared, because this is significant. Our capitation is not flowing as it is required. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, yes. Maybe before I give you the opportunity to reply, you see from your response, you're saying that you are moving from NEMIS to chemists. So my question is, what is the status of NEMIS? And at what stage have you moved from? What percentage are you at? Secondly, there was a time when CS Ndungu was the Treasury CS before handing over to Mbadi. He said clearly that the ministry was losing about 5 billion a year because of the system called NEMIS. So now that you are still in the transition period, are you still losing the same amount, or how much are you now losing? Secondly, yeah, well, I'll tell you to sit where the witness is, then you answer. Secondly, PS, the person who made the response, and it has been always an issue, because the auditor has pointed that there were no documentation to support. I don't know if you have made some references to the annexes to support this. Have you now provided the documentation? Because the audit argues that even during the audit process, there was no documentation to support. And now you have brought your response. It looks like you have not again attached the documentation. Where are these documentation that the auditor was requesting for? Because if the auditor wanted documents, you did not provide. The auditor forwarded the query in the blue book. You have come to PAC. We don't have the documentation. Where are these documentation? Are they at the sub-county level? And you have officers all over up to sub-county level, so you are able to get the documents. Yeah, so please, I want to give my two colleagues who have come in. Proposal. And then we give the PS the right of reply, then we get the proposal from Honorable Nabi. Yes, MP from Teso South. For Teso South.
Not from.
For Teso South.
Thank you, corrected.
Yeah.
Master Mary.
But you come from there. Yes.
I represent. Yes. Not for.
Go ahead, for Teso South.
From Teso.
Yes.
I represent the great people of Teso South. Master Mary is my name. Thank you.
Yes. And the MP for retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. MP for retired President. Yes, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. It would also be in the interest of this committee to know if Miriam Mase actually comes from Teso South. But my name is Gigi Kagombe. I'm the Member of Parliament for Gatundu South and a member of this committee.
She is from Teso South, but a resident of Butere.
One term.
Chair, you know you are my MP. Tell them, is there a problem?
No, there's no
Is there a
problem.
problem?
Yeah. All of us
Iko-
here,
iko
even you, Namwar, you come from Turukana, but you have a home in Nairobi in a certain constituency. Yeah, so there's no way you can run away from living in another constituency. PS. Yes, PS.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, for this very positive engagement on the questions that you have asked. Let me go straight to the question from Honorable Nabi on why we are changing from NEMIS to CHEMIS. Honorable Chair, as you realize, NEMIS has been a system that has served the education sector for quite a long time. But from the analysis from those who understand ICT and systems, Kenya Education Management Information System will be able to offer a wider scope than NEMIS. For example, there was need for an integrated education information system for the education sector, and CHEMIS offers a unified data architecture and consistent information across various education sectors. So this one captures basic education, TVET, higher education, TSC. So it actually, the scope is bigger than NEMIS, which was only capturing the basic education only. Number two, there is also improved interoperability with government systems, which means it's designed to function within the broader government digital ecosystem, facilitating integration with various systems and institutions, such as NEC, TSC, COOPS, TVET, universities, Commission for University Education, and MDS. So it will actually cut across. It will also help in reduction of multiple and parallel data systems. So over time, various education programs and institutions have developed tailor-made systems and databases. So CHEMIS aims to streamline these efforts by establishing a national education data architecture, offering multiple specialized services and ensuring control interoperability, which minimizes data capture duplication. Maybe in just short, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, this system offers much more than CHEMIS, NEMIS offered. And I think from in the ICT world, systems can always change because technology is not constant, it moves. And I think owing to some of the areas that were identified that required improvement from NEMIS, that explains the introduction of CHEMIS. The Honorable Member also asked the evidence of the census. I think personally I've not gone through that census that was carried out, but I'm sure the census is available because it's normally done together with the other state department that deals, what do you call it? With the planning. So that census is available, and I'm sure when required it can be availed. The other question the Honorable Member asked about students not captured and money not sent to schools. This current disbursement that we have done, we actually did not use CHEMIS because CHEMIS is still being finalized. So we used the verified data from the field, the previous data that was used because disbursement of capitation is a process that's done every year. So the data that was used to disburse the previous disbursement and the corrections that were done or submitted thereafter. For example, you might submit and then you find maybe a school is complaining of a few students that were not captured. So first of all, the data that was used to disburse the previous disbursement and the verification that was done by the ministry, that is what I've used to disburse the capitation that we have just disbursed. So we did not use CHEMIS for now. I'm sure chemists will be used as from next year once the system has been finalized. In the issue of birth certificates, I think if you look at chemists, a chemist wants to integrate even with NEC and all other government systems so that you can be able, the data can be able to linkage. But I have very competent, I have a number of directors here, both junior, senior. In case I miss out on anything, with the permission of the Honorable Chair, they might be able to add up on whatever I will have probably left, particularly on the NEC, unique identifiers and so on. I think the chemist system would want to integrate all this. The second question was from Honorable Marianne, and the question was on funds disbursed under NEMIS. And I think our concern was where was the money going to, who was going to benefit. Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, the NEMIS system, which was being used to disburse the money, is a system that also works very closely or integrates with the field officers. What actually happens is that right from the zonal level to the sub-county, to the county, to the region, all these officers normally verify even this data, even as they are being captured by NEMIS. And therefore, obviously, the monies that were forwarded to the various schools to be able to benefit the learners. And I think the second question the Honorable Member asked was why complain about the system and whether the money got lost. I think the change of the system from NEMIS to CHEMIS is not necessarily because money got lost, but I think it is mainly because of further improvements that are required. And the field officers, I agree with the Honorable Member Marianne, that the field officers actually have the data. They do usually have, they get the data from the head teachers, and they can also go to the schools to verify. And even when we have these systems, we will still be able to use our field officers to be able to do the physical verification where appropriate or where possible. And the field officers actually, we use the data that they give also to feed into the systems that we have. And therefore, their participation, it does not mean that when the system is there, they do not have any role. They still have a critical role to play. Yes, Honorable Chair.
Sorry to interrupt you. I want to take you back to your response, number 1. The last sentence, where it starts by, the ministry acknowledges that the verification process was not adequately documented and has since strengthened the audit trails and approval workflow to ensure that evidence of verification is retained and readily available for audit purposes through CHEMIS. Verbally, you have stated you are not using CHEMIS. It's not yet well developed. You are still using NEMIS. So when you say here that verification can be done through CHEMIS, that's what I'm wondering. Are you using CHEMIS or you are still using NEMIS?
Honorable Chair, actually what we are using, I stated that we have not yet started using CHEMIS, because if you look at the onboarding that has happened on the CHEMIS, it is yet to capture all the dollars, but there is significant progress. Maybe at a given time I'll give the data. So we're actually using verified data. That is actually what we are using.
So you are not using NEMIS, you are not using CHEMIS, you are using verified data?
Yes, we are using
from the ministry.
Verified data from the field. But the director secondary can explain further, probably exactly what we are doing.
I want Honorable Naisula to introduce herself, and then I give that officer from the secondary to elaborate what the PS is saying. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Naisula Lesuda, MP Samburu West, and a member of this committee.
Yes, PS, you wanted to give an officer to help you, to elaborate?
Just to elaborate, because I'm sure it would be, it would have the further elaboration.
And this
Dr. Sugut.
Yes, and before he comes in, I also want to understand. So this, the moving from NEMIS, and then you are in the middle there, you are not in the chemist, you are using a verification system in the middle. Was it a communication, or do you have the approval communication from the ministry or from government for you to use that system? Or it's not a system?
Manual.
But they are using manual.
Chair.
Members, you are not the witness. You know, I was asking, yes,
when that question is coming, first of all, I'm appalled by the level of inaccuracy in this ministry. Things seem to be guesswork. I would have expected that these are human beings, these are children who are in school. You should have surgical precision of data. And I'm wondering, when you move from NEMIS, first of all, I will be honest here. I know I've been involved in, like when we're buying desks for schools, you realize teachers and ministry officials have no data of how many students you have in your schools, even if you ask. They will tell you, I tried, last year I was buying desks, even now I'm buying desks. You ask the sub-county education officer, how many students do you have in this school? They give you a number, you buy desks, you go to present, you realize, no, probably there are more, other times there are few. We seem to have this information, and I think this is intentional, so that money is siphoned. And most of the times, like there's a school I went and gave 120 desks, only to be told there are only 76 students. So you realize if this 120 is the information that the ministry has relied on, but on actual count, you realize it has been bloated. So I would want to know how you work with that. But most importantly, not unless you're saying that you're only dealing with secondary schools here. When you say in your response answer number 3 here, and you say that the ministry introduced alternative identification mechanisms using assessment numbers provided by NEC. So at what level does a student interact with NEC? So between grade 1 all the way to grade 6, before they interact with NEC, what are you using at that time? But you also say that you also understand that birth certificates are not available to everyone. So what are we using in that, especially in that lower primary? There seems to be a lot of inaccuracies, and I think they are intentional. P.S.
Chair, I think what the Honorable is trying to explain, the PS or the witness just came into the ministry. And when Kagombe talks about surgical precision, there are guys here who understand that, officers here who understand how NEMIS came in, the teething problems, the challenges they have been having, and the transition period. Chair, it is good if we can have those officers who introduced NEMIS, who are transitioning to chemists, and who are now doing manual NEC identifiers to pay or to disburse.
And now,
so it is good if we have those officers interacting with us.
And you see, Honorable Namwar, you are reframing my question, which is very good, because you see the law provided that you use NEMIS. You reached a point where you saw no NEMIS should be used. Then you are using this verifier, which Honorable Kagombe is referring to as NEC. Now, and it's also in your response. That's why I was asking, the time you moved from NEMIS and the system that you are now using, that manual, how was it approved in the education sector for you to use it? Do you have a ministerial approval or something that made for you to abandon NEMIS and use this one? Yes. Yes, Naisula.
Thank you. Mine is a quick one. I just want to know, saying the ministry introduced alternative identification to ensure no eligible learner is excluded. I want to understand what that is. So alternative, what is that?
And it is the same question I'm asking. That alternative, yes. And you have reframed it very well also, so that it's well understood. Because we also want to know if it is the ministry that approved. I would really like to know who approved and what were the circumstances, and are we able to know? Yes, finally, Mugo.
Chair, I think we have asked so many queries, and if they cannot even provide evidence to the auditor, Chair, then probably even if they answer our queries, probably the committee will not even be satisfied. So my suggestion would be, Chair, maybe first to provide the evidence, because there must be some document somewhere. There must be something. You know, if the auditor asks for the information, and I'm not blaming the PS, you know, of course PS has officers, just provide this first, so that the auditors can check whatever they are requesting here, and probably the number of queries that the members are asking, probably we can even be asking now, like now, Chair, we could be asking the auditor, have you checked this evidence on, you know, on NEMIS, CHEMS and so forth, Chair. So my fear, Chair, even if we ask the director, I think, of secondary to respond, how will they respond about primary and birth certificate? And he's a director from NEC, from I think grade 10 or something. Because this system, Chair, does not only capture secondary school students. It captures also primary.
You see, Mugo, just a minute. I'm the one who interrupted the PS because his verbal was different from what is written. Like, I want to read out the last paragraph. It says, whereas the State Department acknowledges the audit observations, it is implementing measures to strengthen enrollment verification, documentation, auditability, and data governance within, and verbally he has said is not using. You have seen. Yeah, so but in written he's saying he's using within NEMIS.
Yeah,
And then,
Chair,
Chair,
my
then
request,
further-
Chair.
And then further goes to say, they are being addressed through ongoing chemist establishment.
Yes.
So,
And he's not using chemists.
Chair, my suggestion is,
Yes,
Chair,
Marianne.
because the PS is fairly new in that ministry, and he has requested the Director Secondary Basic Education to give further clarification. I think we listen and hear, and then we can now talk, because I presume they should have given him the response that is written here.
Okay.
But maybe they did not. Let's
Yes,
listen.
yes, PS, please give the officer.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I'll give the officer to clarify a few areas, and then I'll come back to answer the remaining questions. Maybe Dr. Sugut.
Thank you very much, Chair.
You
And-
state your name and position.
Yeah, my name is Sugut William, Head of Senior School Education. Through the peers, I wish to say that in terms of giving capitation to institutions, during this period, we've been using NEMIS, that is the National Education Management Information System. Following the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform, there was a recommendation that we transition to KEMIS, which is the Kenya Education Management Information System. So the response that my PS has given is the audit is the 2023-2024, when KEMIS was in force. NEMIS was in force. During that period, what the auditors discovered was that we were able to release the money to institutions using data on KEMIS, but NEMIS. But the concern was, in the system, there was no functionality for the sub-county directors to be able to do the verification in the system. So the advice was, we need to have that functionality included, so that you are able to go back to that particular period, and you are even able to have the field officers verify. As that is being done, we are at transition level, where we've been asked to move to KEMIS. For purposes of the technology under which NEMIS was built is an old one. the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform.
You see, officer, now what you are stating is what you should have written in writing and attached to those presidential things you are referring to and those approvals for you to move and to use the other one. And no, they are still in the process. They have not even gotten to chemists. Yeah, so you see now what you are saying and what you wrote for the PS is different. Yes, but they are the ones writing these responses.
Do you mean the PS is not aware of the
No, even me, I've got PS writing. Yes, my friend. And that's why he's giving him to refer. Yes, continue.
So thank you, Chair. So I think the direction you have given that maybe we could sit down with the auditor again so that those evidences are there, then we can be able to give that response, because I think it's a transition issue.
You had all the time with the auditor. What you need to go and do is for you to answer the query to Public Accounts Committee and provide evidence. Those presidential things you are referring to, those sectorial meetings that told you you need to reinforce, you need to provide evidence. Because when you say we moved, you see, you cannot just move and start using another assessment unless the ministry people sat, deliberated, minutes were taken, resolutions were made. Those are the documentation that the auditor is asking, that it lacked any documentation.
We will provide that.
Yeah. Yes, Marianne.
Chair, I am a bit worried, now more worried than before, because, Chair, this was an audit query of 22-23, and it looks like the problem, 23-24, and it looks like the problem, even as we get into 26-27, is still there. So meaning that any money we are giving to this State Department for capitation to free day secondary school and junior secondary school is not actually getting to the target recipients. So, Chair, can we just sit here and see Wanjiko's money going another direction as opposed to going to assist the very person? Because you've had the ministry saying, even up to now, they are still trying to figure out how they need to send this money. That is the worry. And our worry is, if you could, because the audit query of 23-24 should have guided how now you proceed or how now you disburse the monies going forward, even as we answer queries. But it looks like, Chair, we are in a serious situation, and I don't know what to say.
PS, for us to make progress,
yes,
you have had the deliberations from members. I would recommend that we pend the query, you go and do a better response and attach the documentations, and you address the issue.
Chair.
Yeah. So, PS, is that okay? Then members want to add more questions so that when you do the response, you include those ones. Yes, we start with Naisula, then Mandazi.
Thank you, Chair, for that guidance. This is a very critical issue, as from the deliberations of the members, because this is what then informs the monies that then go to our schools, and we have to be sure that the schools are getting the correct amounts because of the data that is there. So, listening to and reading through the response, it's a lot of stories. PS, this is stories. These are just, we need you to answer the query. No documentary evidence was provided for audit to confirm the student enrollment data in NEMIS had been verified by the respective sub-county offices before disbursement of the funding. So you need to answer the question that has been raised by the auditor, so that we are sure, even from the sub-counties we come from, that this data has been verified and the monies that are being sent are from that data.
Yeah, Mandazi, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Just to carry my mind and the members' minds back is that the issue of NEMIS was part of the special audit that this committee had made inquiry into, that we are yet to make recommendation. Having said so, personally representing the rural constituencies, it means then we are continuously being discriminated. As to why I say so is because maybe the urban schools, the parents, the pupils could be able to get these particular documents that you're requiring to do registrations, and that gives you the numbers. Whereas in the rural constituencies where children are still suffering, parents are suffering, it is very difficult for them to get the particular documents that you require. And ending up, like Mheshimiwa Undo was saying, we end up with a school getting 75 shillings, vis-a-vis another school, maybe in an urban constituency, having millions and millions of shillings. So as a committee, we need to find a way of ending this discrimination, because our schools will never get justice if we continue like this. That was my comment, Chair, as you guide. Thank you.
Finally, okay, Undo and then Emase.
Chair, as they go to recalibrate the response, is it possible the PS and the State Department of Basic Education can give us the exact number of learners who are in schools during the period of audit? And I would prefer probably you give us that data segregated per sub-county. Then we'll also get hours. So when you come, we will compare notes. We want to demonstrate to you that the information you have been given is not the correct information as things are on the ground.
But also your data we will have you to verify.
Yes,
You can't just break data.
No, members of parliament are trusted.
Because it is believed
Chair,
that
it's my turn
yes,
to
I'm going to give you. It is believed that when the PS presents any documentation, is under oath, so you can't doubt what he's presenting. So when he brings documentation, he will be under oath. The documents will be treated as genuine and honest. Yes, Mercy.
Chair, I'm drawing my question from this sentence that Honorable Naisula read. Documentary evidence was not provided for audit to confirm student enrollment data in NEMIS had been verified. My question is, what mechanisms do you have in place in your sub-county offices to verify data? Because I also am privileged to sit in the Education Committee Chair. We've had challenges. You find data reported in NEMIS does not tally with the actual on the ground. There are cases where data reported either is exaggerated, it's more than what is actually on the ground, or vice versa. This very last weekend, I was dealing with a situation in my constituency where the school is at the verge of being closed. TSC wants to withdraw teachers. When I went to the school and met the community, I learned that that school has never received capitation. So the principal has no money. It is called Bishop Okude Secondary School. The principal has no money completely to run the school, because he was even using his own money from his pocket. So, yes. Then when you asked the principal, did you register these students with NEMIS? He said he did, but he does not understand why he has never received any money for that school. So, to cut the long story short, how come, what are the controls to ensure, or for you to be able to tell by looking at the system whether this money you are sending is getting to the schools, or whether all schools are receiving money, money is being sent to all schools as registered by NEMIS?
I must say we had given a direction that the PS is going to redo the response. So what we are asking is going to reinforce and answer in the response and documents and provide all documentation. Is there any other member who wants to add a question so that the PS presents? Yeah, so PS on paragraph 499, you do a better response, provide with all documentation, and then submit to the committee. You give a copy to the Auditor General. By when can you do the response? Professor Undo, you are not the witness. Yes.
Honorable Chair, I think 1 or 2 weeks should just be adequate for
2
us.
weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
to be able to do the additional response.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Members, 500, paragraph 500, budgetary control and performance. The committee took a position on this one, that the underfunding is caused by Treasury. 501, pending accounts payable, auditor, resolved or pending.
Thank you, Chair. Pending accounts payable is resolved. Management has provided copies of the bank statement for payments made on the pending accounts payable. Thank you, Chair.
Paragraph 502, and resolved prior year matters. PS, this one you check the report that was adopted. You act as per the recommendations of the committee. 503, and confirmed other non-financial information. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The strategic objectives of the State Department are to enhance equity in primary secondary education and to develop, maintain, and enhance education quality standards. However, management did not achieve planned targets on improvement of infrastructure and equipment for public primary schools and education assessment resource centers, training of special needs education personnel, ICT integration services, capacity building of finance officers of learning institutions, and completion of diploma teachers training colleges. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, read response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. The management response is as follows. The planned activities were not funded and consequently no achievements were recorded. Key initiatives such as the revamping of EACs and diploma TTCs were not financed, preventing the refurbishment of asbestos roofing as directed. In addition, the training of special needs personnel and finance officers in learning institutions that is critical to fulfilling the mandate of the State Department was not undertaken due to lack of funding.
What measures were put in place, PS, to manage the planned activities? Was it factored in subsequent budgets? Yes, Marianne, additional questions?
Yes, Chair. You know, strategic plan is actually
blueprint.
It comes out from the State Department itself, unless the PS wants to tell us that this strategic plan was brought from another body and imposed on them. But if it is document that was designed, created, approved by themselves, you set your own register, you set your own marking scheme, and you start implementing. So when you say in your response that they were not financed, who was to finance? Where was the finance supposed to come from? You have set for yourself a marking scheme, provide resources to your marking scheme, so that now you pass your exam. But when you don't provide, who then is supposed to do it, Chair? Who sets for you the strategic plan? Who then finances your strategic plan? It should be yourselves. So when you give a response like this, Chair, what is this really? That's why I'm smiling, because, Chair, this response is not adequate totally.
Honorable Chair.
You want to... Yes, Mugo.
I think, Chair, PS, what we are requesting is when you say it is not funded, then you need to give us evidence that, you know, it was part of the strategic objective. You requested for the budget. Probably because funds come from this National Assembly, the State Department of Education maybe never considered these funds, or if they were considered, were they removed by supplemented budget. We just need evidence. It's simple. We know there is a shortage of resources in this country. Yeah, so, but what evidence do we have that it was part of the strategic objective and it was in the budget, yet it was not funded by the National Assembly? No, but they are saying, yeah, that is what I'm asking, because they are saying there were no, it was not funded. That means there was a request.
I must say you want to ring fence, yes.
Do you know, Chair, you know Parliament doesn't just fund EWA. You know, somebody, the department must request for a specific, you know, funding for a specific project or item. Then we will fund, or we don't fund if we don't have the money. So I just want to buttress Honorable Daktari's point that if you requested for funds, can we have proof? of a budget that was either reduced through supplementary or rejected through the main, because you set your own foundation through your strategic plan, and then you need to be deliberate to allocate resources for it. Yeah.
Yes, Oundo, then we come to Nigeria.
No, we have had the benefit of having members who sit in departmental committees, and my neighbor here sits in the departmental committee of education. Both. Probably she could shed light whether they have had a view of the strategic plan and how much they have been achieved. But nevertheless, Chair, there are so much to be done in the education sector. I do not know what much we can do to salvage the situation. Because the issue of asbestos in many of the old schools is becoming a big issue, because there was a circular around 2020 or 20 something that required all asbestos to be replaced in this country. Yet up to now, there has been very little movement in respect of this matter. Can the PS give us an assurance what strategic plans are put in place to achieve that particular directive?
Chair. Even as we continue, I don't know, we'll do another 1 or 2 questions, but the trajectory seems to be that the people who prepared these responses, Chair, were not really thorough or keen on the questions. That's my feeling. And I'm also thinking that the PS is fairly new in that docket. And, you know, it's not coming before this committee is not just to read what has been presented before you. It is to understand and probably for yourself to interrogate. Because, you know, there are no documentation, there are no annexes, there's nothing. That's why I was saying earlier, these are just stories. Because when you say there's no funding, what is there anything to show that you had prepared or you had requested for the funding of this? So I don't know, let's continue, Chairman, but I feel that, yeah, because we might not make much progress. We'll continue asking questions, and then we're like, how many weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I believe they need to go through this document again and come back when they're you know, that's just my feeling, but we can continue.
Yes, PS, you have something to say?
Yes, Honorable Chair. On the issue of the strategic plan, of course, the ministry sets the strategic plan that outlines what they need to do, and they forward their request to the National Treasury through the required channels for funding. And I'm sure there is evidence of the budgets and the requests that that are required and which can actually be submitted. I think we will be able to provide those particular evidences and appendices as directed by this honorable committee.
What duration of time are you going to provide documents, PS?
I think, Honorable Chair, it should just be the 2 weeks should be enough to provide whatever evidence and documentation that could be missing.
Okay. 504, lack of ownership and risk internal controls over management of NEMIS. This one was in 2021-2022. Professor Oundo, do you want us to read this one? Because the committee deliberated that time. It's not.
Chair, I'm just, I don't know what to say. There are too many issues. I do not know they're having any value for the time we are spending here today.
I was asking you on 504.
I'm worried.
First you said you don't have anything to say, and you're now saying...
I'm just worried. This administrative lapses is dangerous for this country.
Yeah, PS on 504, it appeared in 2021-2022. The report is on the floor of the House. You needed to have checked what the committee deliberated.
Yeah, but Chairman, I'm just thinking there must be a reason why it has come up again.
It is because the report delayed to go on the floor of the House.
Oh, okay.
So the auditor had also raised it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But, yeah, clearly even from the response, they have not checked the recommendation so far that has been
Yeah.
that has been made.
So you check the report, PS, you act as per the report of 2021-2022 on paragraph 504. Sorry?
Noted, Honorable Chair.
Yes, 2020, yes. 505, lack of fixed assets register, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Special audit of the public secondary schools reviewed that various schools did not have fixed asset registers, contrary to section 143, subsection 1, 2, and subsection 2 and 3 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015, which states that the accounting officer shall be responsible for maintaining a register of assets under his or her control or possession as prescribed by the relevant laws, and that the register for land and buildings shall record each parcel of land, each building, and the terms on which it is held, with reference to conveyance address, area, dates of acquisition, disposal, or any major change in use, capital expenditure, leasehold terms, maintenance, contracts, and other pertinent management details. All items of furniture and equipment issued for a government quarters or offices, large tools for government works, plant, equipment, vehicles shall be recorded in the register. Further, it was noted that various schools lacked land ownership documents to show ownership, land sizes, and locations. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, read the response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The State Department acknowledges the audit observation regarding the absence of a fixed asset register in most schools. A fixed asset register is an essential tool for upholding accountability and guaranteeing the effective administration of school assets. It facilitates the creation of accurate financial accounts, improves transparency, and helps track assets. Some of the schools lack fixed registers because of limited capacity and training of school management on asset management processes, and are the reasons why some schools do not have a fixed register asset registry. One is historical deficiencies in record keeping and administrative procedures. In certain schools, this criteria is not given enough priority. In order to address this, the State Department has done the following. One, policy directives. By the end of the current financial year, all schools will be required to create and keep a fixed asset register. Training and capacity building. In accordance with the Public Finance Management Act 2012, school principals and bursars have been receiving training on how to keep and update fixed asset registers at the Kenya Education Management Institute, among other requirements under International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS. Tools and templates. All schools have received standardized templates for the fixed asset register alongside the guidelines for implementation of the everyday secondary education. D, regular monitoring. The upkeep of the fixed asset register will now be assessed as part of school audits. Remedial action will be taken for non-compliance of some schools. Digital tools. Schools will be advised to start utilizing digital tools for asset management to streamline the process and ensure long-term compliance. The State Department is committed to ensuring that all schools adhere to the set guidelines and maintain a complete and updated fixed asset register to improve governance and accountability. Regarding lack of land ownership documents, schools are built on land set aside by the national/county governments for public utility. Title deeds are held in trust by the National Treasury, while a copy is retained in school. Pursuant to Section 12(2)(k) of the Public Finance Management Act 412A laws of Kenya, the National Treasury issued guidance to public institutions that have not processed title deeds for their land. Schools who have not acquired title deeds for their land ownership are required to follow the laid down procedure and register public land under their custody. Section 4.9 of the Policy on Assets and Liability Management in the Public Sector provides for accounting officers of all public sector entities to acquire ownership documents of all assets under their jurisdiction. The government gazetted the multi-agency working group on school land titling on 1st November 2018, Feed Gazette Notice Number 12311, to fast-track the titling of public school land. The multi-agency working group comprises the National Land Commission, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Lands and Fiscal Planning, Shule Yangu Campaign Alliance, and other partners. So far, the team has achieved the following. The government introduced waiver of fees related to school land titling, which includes stamp duty, conveyancing fees, official search cost, registration, and stamp premium, with the aim of accelerating the school titling process, spearheaded the school land audit and titling of over 10,000 public schools across the country through Shule Yango Alliance campaign. The multi-agency working group has sensitized and continues to sensitize ed teachers, principals, boards of management, public land defenders, and the general public on the titling process, and established operationalized interministerial legal working group on school titling, which was set up to review, recommend, reform, or support enacted laws and policies to better safeguard public school land. They are also charged with the responsibility of supporting public schools with ongoing cases in court, as well as other land disputes by finding solutions to ensure they remain protected. The Ministry of Education established a committee to follow up on land titling of all public schools, and the exercise is an ongoing process. I submit.
Are you done, PS?
I'm done with that specific part.
I'm very much interested on the issue of the committee on titling. What is the status update as per now?
Honorable Chair, I think the status is now, I may need to get the further details on the actual status of that committee.
Yes, Marianne.
Chair, these PSS responses are very, very long. I think the point is direct. Fixed asset register. What is the update? What is the response?
But
Because that's what the auditor is
you
asking.
cannot coach a PS not
I'm not
in a
coaching.
format in which you can give
I
response.
am not coaching, Chair. You know, in the process of answering all this, we be direct. Why I'm saying this, Chair, is because there was a directive from the National Treasury that beginning this financial year, we are all moving to accrual basis. One of the conditions was fixed asset registers needed to be updated, and they have a 3-year period. And what I expected from here is to say, we have reached this percent, we are now getting to this percent. That's what I'm trying to say, Chair. Because when we write all this, I don't know, then what is the response? Because that is the issue, that we do not have a fixed asset register. And yet now we are on accrual basis, which means we should be having fixed assets in the cash book as we move into accrual basis.
Mugo, then Oundo.
Chair, you know, Chair, what captured my attention in the query by the auditor is the issue of the special audit. So there was a special audit that was done of the public secondary schools, Chair, and I don't know, maybe this special audit, did it come to this committee or maybe went to Public Investment Committee? Because this committee has not had the benefit. As far as I can remember, I've been a member of this committee, we have not maybe interacted with this special audit. And if it has been addressed by the other committees, what were the recommendations? Or is it supposed to come before?
To pick education, right?
Yeah. Probably we'll benefit with the recommendations of this to this committee. And we are aware that now that there is a principal secretary in charge of public assets, something at the treasury. So maybe my question is, PS, who has the ownership documents of the schools, of this secondary school? Is it the State Department of Basic Education? Is it Treasury? Because we sometimes also we don't even know who has who is the custodian. They are registered under who? Because we understand there is a PS. There is a PS specifically dealing with all the public and government assets in almost all these schools. Probably maybe you can clarify, as the auditor also clarifies on the special audit. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, all the PS National Treasury is the custodian of all the titles, but normally a copy is of the title is at the school.
Yeah.
Yes, Oundo.
You asked about the progress of the multi-agency working group on schools land titling. and I want to use Funyula constitution as an example. We have never heard of them. They have never done anything in Funyula. But on this chair, I don't intend to be the witness, but I want to paint a very clear situation that happens in most schools in rural areas. I do not know about urban areas. But in rural areas, communities occasionally donate land for the establishment of schools, and probably the patriarch or the matriarch dies before the succession happens, and the school and the community exist without any issues, any trouble. So the process of acquiring the title becomes extremely complicated, and the schools have no issues, and the community have got no issues because they own the school. In some instances, Chair, the schools, the land is donated by the church. And I want to say so because of the Catholic Church, which is a major player in this. And really, the land still remains in the name of the church, and the church has got no quarrel with the school. Finally, on the issue of asset register, if the schools cannot get even capitation, to them the schools do not exist. Surely I've been asking as a small school like Sijoa Secondary School with the 170-something learners who do not even get capitation, to employ a BASA to prepare asset register is asking for too much. That's why I said from the word go, we have a lot to do in the education sector, and I want the Committee of Education and the member where Mary Massa, my neighbor here, is a member, to seriously get to work and sort out these issues. Thank you.
Yes. Chair, I beg to differ with my neighbor here. The issue of unregistered land, school land, is a big problem. And it's not just school land. Chair, in my constituency, I've been sued by the owners of land. Land was donated. Whoever donated has passed on. The children now allege they have to be paid for their land. I have one such case where I've been sued, yet that land was donated many years ago. The office of the ACC was built on the land, and the office of the chief was built on the land. Then I went and added an ICT hub for security reasons. I added on the same land. Immediately I started construction, and we finished a very beautiful ICT hub in one of my wards, where the ACC is domiciled. But now we cannot operationalize. We have orders from court, we've been sued. So I think the special audit or the presidential working group that has recommended we must get title deeds for all schools, it is the right thing to do. It has to be done. We have to find a way to do it. Otherwise, in the future, we are looking at a crisis. We're looking at a situation where we'll have so many cases, so many demands for land to be paid, yet the land was donated. Whoever donated is no longer there. So there are challenges. And I think it is even, I don't know, beyond these guys. Something needs to be done. We need to bring on board. Our committee is recommending that we bring on board Ministry of Lands, and because it's cutting across many departments and ministries.
Yeah, so we'll do report writing and give clear recommendations. Yeah. Members, let's move to 506, lack of audit committees and internal audit function. PS, you don't have audit committee? At schools, okay. Read, I thought it's in the State Department, it's at schools.
Thank you, Chair.
Read the paragraph, auditor, read the paragraph.
Review of the public secondary schools governance structure reviewed that most of the schools had not established audit committees and internal audit arrangements, contrary to Regulation 166, 1 and 2 of the Public Finance Management National Government Regulations 2015, which states that the internal audit unit of a national government entity is required to assess the effectiveness of the school through an internal performance appraisal, commenting on its effectiveness in the annual report to the National Treasury. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, read the response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and honorable members. The management response is as follows. The State Department acknowledges that audit committees play a critical role in enhancing accountability, transparency, and governance in institutions by ensuring compliance with financial and operational policies, overseeing the effectiveness of internal controls and risk management, and also providing oversight for external and internal audit processes. The lack of audit committees in some of the schools may be attributed to the current governance structures in schools, particularly boards of management, may not explicitly mandate the formation of dedicated audit committees due to lack of an internal audit at the school level. Many schools operate with constrained administrative and financial resources, which impacts on the establishment and operationalization of independent committees. Limited training and awareness of the roles and benefits of audit committees among school management teams. To address this issue, a review of existing school governance frameworks to fully incorporate the requirement of audit committees in line with the best practices and regulatory expectations. In addition, the training programs for boards of management and school leadership are being reviewed to include modules on financial oversight and the role of audit committees. In the interim, in the absence of internal auditors for schools, the Directorate of School Audit will be assigned an oversight responsibility as internal auditors for school to ensure functional audit committees. Consequently, schools have been directed to establish functional audit committees by end of current financial year. In addition, regular monitoring and audits will include assessments of progress in implementing audit committees. Should be recommendations also. So, I submit.
Marianne, you have a query?
Chair, I understand that the PFM Act requires that every public institution to have an internal audit function. I'm looking at a secondary school, primary school in my village. And I'm looking at the response of the PS that they want to ensure that every of these schools have internal audit. First and foremost, the people within that village, I don't know how many of them would have capacity to be able to do audit. My recommendations, Chair, if the PS can allow, is to look inwardly and perhaps that service be offered by the ministry itself through the sub-county offices so that you comply with the public PFM Act, and maybe that sub-county office hires some staff through the ministry to be able to help schools do this. Because if we are to just tell a school to do this, I don't know if that will ever happen. Thank you.
Yes, Mercy.
Chair, each sub-county headquarters at the DC's office, they have a department of internal audit. They're the ones that actually audit all the ministry departments within that particular area. I don't know whether schools are excluded. Is this the same internal audit department that is supposed to audit these schools? Or the school was expected to have it to establish its own internal audit? I don't know. Maybe the Office of the Auditor General could give us more clarification on that.
Thank you, Chair. For the audit committee, the schools have the BOM and they have the subcommittees where they can create the audit committee once given the correct guidelines and capacity building. For the internal audit, on the issue of the internal auditor at the sub-county level, they are usually mainly for the national treasury, but it's for the national government entities. Thank you, Chair.
A school is under Ministry of Education, which is a national government entity.
Members,
I don't know. We
think,
just need clarification, Chair, so that we know.
No. I'm not gagging you from seeking clarification, but why don't you keep the clarification during report writing? We deliberate and give the right recommendation. No, we will have the auditor there during report writing. Yeah.
it is good that we also understand maybe if the ministry or state
There are some-
department can have a method so
There are-
that as we recommend, we are taking their advice into the recommendation.
But I can only allow that
Honourable
when
Chair.
when the witness is not there, then you ask the auditor anything. But you, okay. Just a minute, yes, Mugo.
I think, Chair, we need to give the PS and the State Department a benefit of doubt, because they have just said that they are going to make sure it will be there. Eh? Yeah? Yeah, so, no, they have said they are going to make sure. So
And
they
the
must,
PS is under oath.
yeah, and they must be having a formula. So, so we wait to see whether this will be implemented just by the way you have responded. Yeah, Chair. Yeah.
Yeah, so members, let's move to paragraph.
Maybe, Honourable Chair, with your permission.
Yes.
I think, first of all, as the Office of the Auditor General has indicated, we actually have the boards of management, and within the boards of management, you can be able to establish various committees that would include the audit committee. We also have the directorates of schools audit, which of course plays a very critical role in providing internal audit to schools. And the BOMs have also special, so I've said the BOMs have special committees on audit. And then we have the Directorate of Schools Audit, which normally audits the schools and also provides that internal audit. The one at the headquarters or the DC's office is mainly to do the internal audit at the National Treasury. But maybe it might be important to relook at all us. I mean, to look at that kind of intergovernmental collaboration that can be able to assist even to address some of the challenges that are there. But at least the boards of management and the director of school audit is the one that have been doing this function of internal audit.
Paragraph 507, understaffing and overstaffing of State Department.
Thank you, Chair. The approved staff establishment reflects staff in posts of 4,224 staff against an approved establishment of 9,572, resulting to understaffing of 5,340. Further, the approved staff establishment reflects staff in posts for various positions, totaling 2,082 staff against an approved establishment of 993, resulting to overstaffing of 1,289 in positions. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, read response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Let me read the response on shortages of staff in the State Department. It is true that during the review period, the State Department experienced a variance of 5,348 officers compared to its authorized establishment due to staff exits, natural attrition, and a freeze on new recruitment by the Public Service Commission. To address this staffing gap, the State Department has engaged the Public Service Commission, which approved the recruitment of 180 principal quality assurance officers and 500 support services personnel on condition of the National Treasury concurrence. The recruitment of 180 principal quality assurance officers have been completed, and the successful candidates have been appointed and deployed to fill the staffing gap. Further, the National Treasury has provided concurrence and budget allocation for recruitment of 200 drivers and 300 clerical officers during 2024-25 financial year. Copy attached with the recruitment process currently ongoing. To mitigate the effects of understaffing, the State Department also engaged 750 digital literacy program interns on a non-renewable one-year contract. The interns support ICT integration and activities in sub-county education offices, ensuring that public service delivery is not disrupted by staffing shortages. Additionally, the State Department has finalized a review of its staff establishment and organizational structure as directed and guided by the head of public service. The new structure was forwarded to Public Service Commission, and once approved will pave way for filling of the remaining vacant positions and address the staffing shortages. Overstaffing in various positions against the authorized staff establishment. It is true that during the period under audit review, there were officers who occupied posts which were not provided in the authorized staff establishment due to promotions carried out by the Public Service Commission under the succession management, an ongoing process since 2019. The current authorized establishment for the State Department, which was approved on 3rd December 2020, was reviewed and forwarded to PSC for approval to address and accommodate the newly promoted cadres under succession management and to cater for the expanded mandate of the State Department in accordance with Executive Order number 2 of 2023 and Head of Public Service Circular number OP/CAB.6/11A of 1st November 2022. Further, recruitment, promotion, and deployment of support staff cadres are done by respective scheme administrators in conjunction with PSC. The State Department manages 4 technical cadre schemes of service, education officers, quality assurance and standard officers, adult instructors, stroke officers, and school auditors. And the table below gives the analysis of the authorized establishment, those in post and the variance. I submit.
And the Vice Chair to introduce herself.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amina Utgon, the Vice Chair of this committee from Garissa and the MP for Garissa. Thank you.
Members, this paragraph has notoriously appeared in all state departments. And we made a resolution as a committee that we are going to invite the Public Service Commission to shed more light on what should be done. So do we open the discussion or we take the same stand, members? Same stand. Yeah, so we move to the next paragraph. Paragraph under donor-funded projects, 508, unsupported cash and cash equivalents. Balance, Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Unsupported cash and cash equivalents balance, this one has been addressed, Chair. The balances have since been supported and also reported in the financial statement. Thank you, Chair.
Paragraph 509, unsupported interests and advances balance.
Thank you, Chair. Unsupported interest and advances balance. This one also has been addressed. The unsupported amount was found to be as a result of the banking arrangements, which have been supported. Thank you, Chair.
510, unsupported payments by third parties. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Unsupported payments by third parties. This one also has been addressed. Management has provided the accounting schedules to support the payments that were made to the third parties. Thank you, Chair.
Paragraph 511, unsupported budget. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. This one also has been addressed. Unsupported budget has been addressed. Copies of approved work plans, which informs the budget, were attached and verified. Thank you, Chair.
512, undrawn loan balances. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. On undrawn loan balances, the management has also supported the same, and we have confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
513, supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of ICT equipment.
Thank you, Chair.
Public.
Sorry.
ICT equivalent in public teaching training colleges. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. On supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of ICT equipment in public teacher training colleges, this one has been addressed as management has provided evidence of the information that was uploaded in the PPIP. Copies of minutes where discussions were held with management was also provided, and no cost extensions, notices, and professional opinion and addendums for the contracts were also provided. Thank you, Chair.
514, failure to maintain separate banking arrangements. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. This one has also been addressed, Chair. We have also confirmed this since going forward, they even started now preparing the financial statement separately, that is from the program to the project, as advised by the World Bank. Thank you, Chair.
5, yes, Marianne?
Chair,
Yes.
on this particular donor-funded project from 508 all the way to 514, whereas I commend the State Department for liaising with the auditor and now providing the necessary documentation, hence the response from the auditor. My issue, Chair, is at the time of audit, why weren't this applied? Because had they done whatever they've done with the auditor now, this would not have been an audit query. That's issue number one. Number two, Chair, is that if you noticed, all of them were unsupported. Why were those documents not supported at that time? Why now? Thank you.
Now, since you raised the point when I'm at 517, I'm not going to refer to the last ones that have passed, because you would have raised at that stage.
No, I was only raising a general comment because we have on that particular donor-funded project, the whole of it, from when it started to the last one, 514, because it's a new donor-funded project. All of them, they actually have now provided, but they did not provide at the time of audit.
Yes, Mugo?
I think, Chair, as a general statement, normally where the projects are co-funded by the World Bank, normally the World Bank, they normally do their own audit for similar projects, and also sometimes the ministry tend to be serious when the funds are being provided by another entity who are the lenders, because normally where we have big issues, Chair, huge issues when the funds are coming from the GOK. But this World Bank, because I've had the benefit of working with some of these agencies in my other career, I know they are very thorough. Even spending money, you have to get a no objection. You know, all these things. I believe that is the reason why maybe the documents were there, and probably they were not provided at the time of the audit, but now, after, they were able to provide, and that is why maybe the auditor is responding the way it's responding. But that is a general statement.
Yeah, but PS, just to note the concerns of members, if you provided these documents during audit process, you would not be seated here to come and answer the query. So please, next time the auditor requests for the documents through management letters, make sure you provide.
Noted for compliance, Honorable Chair.
Yeah. So paragraph 517, unsupported bank balances, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The balances have since been, on unsupported bank balance, the balances have been supported and were also reported in the financial statement. These variances were confirmed to have related to sharing banking arrangements of the two projects.
Paragraph 518, unsupported deposits and retentions, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. On unsupported deposits and retentions, the balances were supported and reported in the financial statements. These variances have been confirmed.
519, unsupported budget and underfunding.
Thank you, Chair. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects final receipts budget and actual on comparable basis of 880,077,338 and 757,420,235, resulting to underfunding of 122,657,103, or 14%. Further, the budget was unsupported by an approval casting doubts on its authenticity. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, read the response.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The management response, the approved budget for KPIL, wholesomely for both the program and project components, was Kenya shillings 12,694,068,228, which was provided for in terms of GOK, Kenya shillings 250 million, grant Kenya shillings 5,321,427,601, and loan 7.1 billion. However, due to the hybrid nature of the program, these approvals are segregated internally for the program and for the project to accommodate the donor requirements as per the disbursement and financial information letter. Segregation of the approved budget is therefore implemented by the approved work plans for the two components. Therefore, project budget was Kenya shillings 880, 077,338, and program budget was Kenya shillings 11,813, 990, 890. The total is Kenya shillings 12,694, 068, 228. Underfunding was as a result of non-provision of exchequer for GOK counterpart as required in the financing agreement between the World Bank and the GOK, where GOK was to provide 45% of the total expenditure, IDA grant 16.5%, and loan 38.5% under the parent project financing. However, this budget has always been provided. And there is an appendix 519A, which is IFMIS Fourth Book Extract 2023-24, and then B, Extract of Financing Agreement. I submit.
Members, the underfunding was caused by GOK. It is similar to budgetary control and performance. Do we need to deliberate? No. Paragraph 520. Failure to maintain separate banking arrangements. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. On failure to maintain separate banking arrangements, this one management has also supported in terms of separating now the accounts for both for the two projects. Thank you, Chair.
521. Undrawn loan balances and delay in remittance of counterpart funding.
Thank you, Chair. The funding summary under the project information and overall performance reflects donor commitment amount of 4,947,445,150 over the project life from 5th of August 2022 to 31st December 2026, which included Government of Kenya commitment of Kenya shillings 1,233,500,000. However, only 1,009,147,645 had been drawn as at 30th June 2024, resulting to undrawn balance of 3,938,297,505, or 80% of the funding. Further, counterpart funds contribution amounted to Kenya shillings 127,342,897, or 10% of the commitment, and this was contrary to the disbursement and financial information letter, which requires IDA credit, IDA grant at GOK to finance that 8.5%, 16.5%, and 45% of expenditure. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS read response.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, the management response is as follows. There was delay in starting off of the operations since funding for the project began after the second quarter of the first year through advance to kickstart the project activities. In addition, the project is highly affected by non-provision of GOK funding, which accounts for 45% of the funds. The conditions set by the financing agreement require that to access the World Bank resources, GOK has to provide its share of the funds. Appendix 521A, Extract on Financing Agreement for the parent financing, and 2 November and December 2022 bank statements. I submit, Honorable Chair.
Similar to the previous one. Yes, Professor Undo.
To look for the appendix. I'm unable to find it in any of the bundle of documents we have been given, because I needed to ascertain whether indeed
do you have an officer who can point out
the State
the
Department
appendix?
requisitioned for the same. I'm trying to look for it, I can't get it. Because it says appendix 521, because what I have here starts from 539.
Madam, show him. Leave that officer. Show Mheshimiwa that appendix.
521, show me.
Any other member with the query as Mheshimiwa is being shown the appendix?
Yes. What we have here is the bank statement and an extract of the financing agreement. What we are asking, the requisition made by the State Department for the counterpart funding.
Do you have requisition?
Maybe Honorable Chair, the head of accounts can.
Yes, your name and position.
My name is Mukira Gishigo, head of accounts. Through the PS, the issue is we didn't have enough budget for the counterpart funding, so we could not have done the requisition. That's what we are saying. The budget itself was not there, so we could not have a requisition.
So the budget was not there.
Yeah.
So you never budgeted for it?
No, we every year, and the head of finance is here, we put the equivalent figure. But when we get the budget through the National Assembly, the figure for counterpart funding is not enough, and that's what we are saying.
So my neighbor here has let down the country.
Member of the budget committee or education. Yeah, so we move to 522. Overdrawn bank account. Yes, auditor.
Thank you, Chair. On overdrawn bank account, management has since corrected the same, and we have confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Paragraph 526. Unresolved prior year matters, you check the report that was adopted, you act as per the recommendations. 528, dormant status of the project. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. This one had also been previously reported. With your permission, do I read?
Reported in which financial
2021, 2022 financial year.
And the committee made a recommendation. PS, you check for the recommendation. It's a repetitive query. 2021, 2022.
On the same education for young people.
Yeah, it's the auditor saying.
The same
So
program.
he says it's a repetition. 530, unsupported consultancy payments. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The statement of receipts and payments reflects, sorry, Chair, for just information purposes, we are now on secondary education quality improvement project.
Yes.
On unsupported consultancy payments, the statement of receipts and payments reflects an amount of 338,219,507 in respect of purchase of goods and services as disclosed in Note 3 to the financial statements, which includes consultancy services expenditure of 286,075,075. Included in the consultancy services expenditure is an amount of 60,360,050 paid to consultants for works in 30 counties. The consultant contract scope covered design, clerks of works, and supervision of projects. However, field visits to sampled counties of Laikipia, Baringo, and Homa Bay revealed that the consultant did not have clerks of works at the project sites, and the works were ongoing with no evidence of supervision. Thank you, Chair.
No, I want you to finish reading. Auditor, read the last sentence.
In the circumstances, the occurrence and accuracy of consultancy services expenditure of 60,360,050 could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, so PS, read the response.
Management response. The Ministry of Education contracted 3 firms to provide design and construction supervision of services for facilities across 4 regions. The design and construction supervision consultants periodically submitted reports detailing progress and key issues within their respective lots and or regions. These reports documented site engagements as evidenced by minutes of site meetings and weekly reports prepared by the clerks of works. The project appraisal document emphasized the engagement of clerks of works to undertake daily supervision of works throughout the contract period. The clerks of works were contracted for a duration of 6 months, and that one is under Appendix 530A, Clerk of Works Report and Minutes. However, due to the multiple extensions of contracts, it was not tenable to retain the clerks of works beyond the expiry of their contractual period in September 2023. In the absence of clerks of works, resident consulting teams comprising architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, and environmental, social, health, and safety experts continue to supervise the project sites, Appendix 530A. The payments made to the consultants, Kenya shilling 60,360,050, included remuneration for the clerks of works for services rendered prior to the expiry of their contracts as per the provisions in the SECIP infrastructure protocol. The management has since adopted a revised model whereby construction funds are disbursed directly to schools for project implementation, with technical support being provided by the Ministry of Public Works. I submit.
Yes, Marianne.
Chair, I'm trying to look for this Appendix 530A. I'm not getting, if someone can assist me. However, as that is happening, two issues come to mind. One is that as government, we have the State Department for Public Works as the official supervisor of government projects. And why I want to see this particular appendix is if there is a contract there that indicated that it will be exclusive, that the supervision be done by the consultants. Because from what I know, all public projects, civil works projects, are normally undertaken in terms of supervision by public works. That's issue number one. Number two, if indeed the contract expired for the consultants who are then supposed to supervise, why didn't the State Department engage the services of public works to continue on from there? Because allowing their own staff to do this particular supervision then breaks the rule of public works because they don't have that expertise. The expertise actually lies within the State Department for Public Works for government projects.
Yes, Oundo.
As we continue looking for the appendix, Marianne, if you see it, you'll also show me, because I can't also see it here. Chair, there's in one of these paragraphs, the PS says, however, due to multiple extension of contractors' contracts, we have not been told why the contracts were extended. Secondly, we have not been given any evidence to confirm the contracts were extended. So we are wondering how the verifiability of this response. We need to know why were the contracts extended, where the extension documentation that led, so that we can see what to do.
Yeah, and that PS also I wanted to ask the same question because there are new 3 contracts. So we wanted to know the procedure into which you extended the contracts.
Honorable Chair, with your permission, I have an officer called Elijah Mungai who is handling this, and I'm very sure he would be better placed to.
Have you attached documents?
The attachments are not there, Chair.
Yeah, if the attachments are not there, PS, and you have cited that reference to the attachments, we can't address the issue.
That could be probably an oversight, but that's why maybe the head of accounts and the Director Mungai could probably.
But PS, the moment you describe yourself, appendix this, and it's missing, then the response is not adequately. Yes. Because you have stated, if you would not have stated those appendices.
That's why I'm saying, Honorable Chair, I don't know why they're not there. Maybe because they're supposed to be there, unless it's an oversight.
Do you have the appendices there where you are seated?
No. Yes, I have. All right.
Do you have them? Sit down, Mukira. Sit down. I'm talking to the PS. You are frog matching what I'm saying. Sit down.
I'm trying to tell my team to look for them, and
you have them.
I've found. Have you found it?
Okay, if you have them, no, madam, go back with that. That's not procedure.
I think, Honorable Chair.
Just relax. If you have them, you give the sergeant at arms to so that it's officially submitted to the committee.
Honorable Chair, we have them. I can see they have found them.
Yes, you can give Honorable Undo and Marianne. Also here, you have more copies. Bring some here.
Chair.
Yes,
Chair, what we have,
Honorable Undo.
No, Chair. Let's be very clear and methodological in our approach. The response makes reference to Appendix 530A. We do not have Appendix 530A. And if anybody can show me Appendix 530A, mark 530A, I'll buy them a soda.
No, Park doesn't buy sodas.
I will in my personal pocket. I'm looking for Appendix 530A, Chair.
We don't have. If we don't have PS, we pend the query until when it's attached there.
Honorable Chair, what we have here is 530. I'm also not able to see 530A unless.
Yeah, so PS, once you make reference of an appendix in writing in your response, you have to have the appendix because it's part of the response. So every word, every comma in that appendix is taken as part of your response. So because it's missing, we either pend the query or ask you to submit that appendix.
I think we can pen the query. They can recheck the naming of the appendices.
And I'm surprised your officer was carrying it up and showing, and it's not there. So we have penned the query. Yes,
so much is expected of the Ministry of Education. If the Ministry of Education cannot get things right, what happens to us students who are products of the Ministry of Education? You know, these are people who go. Yeah, at this rate, if the Ministry of Education cannot get it right, I might also start doubting my education because it's a product of Ministry of Education.
No, but education, we were taught by teachers in schools, not by officials of the ministry.
Chair.
Yes.
You know, he's doubting his own education, and no wonder I can see that being shown today from the kind of behavior he's presenting out there.
So, PS, bring a response with the attachment, please.
Oh, not
and any other relevant attachment that you want to include.
All right, Honorable Chair.
Paragraph 531, budgetary control and performance. Was it caused by GOK or by? Yes, we are on paragraph 531. But, yes. Was the underfunding caused by GOK or it's a... If it's counterpart funding, you read. Read, please.
Thank you, Chair. Budgetary control and performance. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects final receipts budget and actual on a comparable basis of Kenya shillings 2,700,000,000 and Kenya shillings 1,186,328,447 respectively, resulting to an underfunding of Kenya shillings 1,513,671,553 or 56% of the budget. The underfunding affected the planned activities and may have impacted negatively on service delivery to the public. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, read response.
Honorable Chair, I don't seem to have the 531 here. I have 530 and 532 in the response.
Yes, Chair.
So even that one is pended. That one, PS, is pended. You have to answer the paragraph. Also, 532 PS, I can see you did not even have the response. So as much as it's prior year matters, you cannot make reference to the report. It's not responded to. 532 from your response. So we go to, so 531, 532 pended, not responded to. Yeah. Not responded.
Not responded to. That's
yes,
the correct statement.
Not responded,
not responded to. So it cannot even be pended. It's not responded to. So we just take it was not responded to.
No, PS can maybe want to bring a response. Would you, was it an oversight or you don't want to respond to it? Those are also two options. You can go with either. Yeah.
I'm not, maybe they have not checked the report of the previous year. I might also need to find out exactly what.
It is not reported the previous year. It is in the Blue Book, PS. It's here. You are responding to queries that appear in the Blue Book. So 32, 31 are in the Blue Book, but they are missing in your responses.
Yes, they're actually missing.
Yeah.
In the responses, so we'll look at it.
So you will bring the response, or we take it as you did not want to respond?
We'll bring the response.
Okay. Yeah. Oundo, what's the problem?
We need to be very clear. When an account officer does not respond to an audit, it's different from when an account officer responds and the committee is not satisfied.
So here he did not respond.
Did not respond. So we can't waste the committee time in forcing the the accounting officer to respond what he didn't want to respond to.
Yes, Marianne.
Chair, I think it is only fair to give the officer a benefit of doubt. Even anywhere, they always get a benefit of doubt. So since the PS has said he will respond, let's give him that opportunity.
Yeah, at PS, I give you 2 weeks.
Honorable Chair and members, I will respond as directed.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah. So paragraph 533, procurement and management of infrastructure projects.
Thank you,
Auditor?
Chair. This query had six subsections.
Mm-hmm.
The first one on improper constitution of contracts implementation committee has been addressed as management has provided the project appraisal document which supported the formation of the committee. Chair.
Mm-hmm.
On 533.2, on unsupported revision of contracts durations, this one also has been addressed as management has provided copies of requests and extensions for the contracts for the various projects as highlighted. Thank you, Chair.
Just a minute. Yes, Mercy.
An observation.
Yes.
I notice a trend where at the time of the audit, documents were not provided for verification at the time of the audit. But suddenly now, these documents have surfaced, they have been produced and given to the auditors. Could we probably get an explanation what happened? How come at the time of the audit, documents were not there? And you know, it's not about one query or about two, almost on 75% of the queries. So what happened? The officers were now finally, suddenly, somehow, were able to trace documents and submit after the audit queries had been generated.
Yes, Marianne.
I just wanted to ask, Chair, in a scenario like this, where the query has come to the Blue Book, and then documents are submitted to the auditor, and the auditor verifies and says the audit query has been addressed, shouldn't those documents still form part of a response to us? Because it appeared in this Blue Book, so it needs to be cleared in the Blue Book.
Yes. The reason why we are relying on the auditor, it's because the auditor has got expertise and is the one guiding the committee. So if he says it's resolved, it's as per the documents that is, yes. Yeah, but on now the violation of not providing during the audit process, that one will make a recommendation during report writing. Yes. Or surcharge where the matter is too.
Yeah, I totally agree with the Audit Act is very explicitly clear. The sanctions to be imposed when account officer doesn't provide documents at the time of audit. So that one will apply ourselves at the time of report writing.
Yeah. So auditor, yes, go ahead. 533.3.
533.3. Thank you, Chair. Projects not commenced. The project status and progress report also indicated that a total of 30 classrooms, 40 laboratories, 4 water projects, and 471 sanitation blocks, valued at Kenya shillings 573,900,000, had not been commenced as at 30th June 2024. No explanations were provided for the delay in commencement of the works. In addition, liquidated damages had not been levied by the employer as provisioned under clause 47.1 of the project conditions of contract for the delayed commencement. Further, termination proceedings had not been commenced despite the contractor having abandoned the work for period exceeding 28 days without evidence of authorization by the project manager. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, read response.
It is true that there were delays in the commencement and implementation of infrastructure construction under SECIP. These delays were due to several factors, including the project was held in abeyance for approximately 2 years to harmonize infrastructure investment and ensure a seamless transition for learners from grade 8 under the 844 system to the competency-based curriculum, Appendix 533.3a. This resulted in delayed commencement of works and escalation of prices, as contractors had bid in 2020, but contracts were only signed in 2022. The contracts and budget for infrastructure were fixed with no provision for variation. 2, insecurity in certain areas as cited by contractors and consultants. 3, poor road conditions in some areas and disruptions to works caused by heavy rains. 4, SECIP is implemented in vulnerable and marginalized areas, some of which have challenging terrains, for example, West Pokot. And 5, stoppage of work during election time and national examinations. The project has since closed on 31st December 2024, and as per the Solicitor General's advice, the contracts have since been terminated by virtue of the project ending. Appendix 533.3b. Despite the challenges mentioned above, all contracted companies for civil works commenced their assignments in the respective lots. However, execution did not begin for all targeted facilities. Some contractors chose to complete a subset of facilities before starting the main ones. In addition, the liquidated damages could not be enforced as the ministry had accepted the reasons for the no-cost extension as valid and justifiable. Thus, it would not have been contractually permissible to impose liquidated damages at that period. However, after the lapse of the period, the ministry has since issued notices on liquidated damages. Appendix 533.3c. Some contractors instituted arbitration proceedings against MOE, claiming compensation for failure to honor contract variations. Detailed instructions showing the chronology of events was issued to the Attorney General by MOE in this regard, with instructions to take actions. Appendix 533.3d. To date, the ministry is yet to be served with proceedings of the arbitration, since from Appendix 533.3d, the claim of service was fraudulent. It is thus expected that AG will file a counterclaim against the said contractors inside the same arbitration proceedings for compensation for breach of contract. Moving forward, the ministry is committed to ensuring the completion of all outstanding sub-projects through the new program, SECIP. Is there any other? Thank you. I submit, Chair.
Yes, members. Yes.
Probably the PS needs to give us the status of these projects, because the auditor indicates there were 30 classrooms, 40 laboratories, 4 water projects, and 471 sanitation blocks. Probably we need to know, at the close of the project in December 2024, what was the percentage completion of the classrooms, the laboratories, the water projects, and sanitation blocks. Secondly, we need to know whether, as it clearly states, the project didn't have variations, provision for variations. They were tendered in 2020, Contract signed in 2022. They were still ongoing by 2024, 4 years down the line. Now with the change of the construction costs, how did the ministry or state department handle cost escalations as a result of time lapse and change in materials prices in the market? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Marianne.
Chair, the reasons for not being able to finish these projects are indicated here. But my query is, did these reasons arise after the contracts were issued, or were these reasons even there before? Because if you take an example of insecurity, did the insecurity happen after the contract was awarded? Because if these reasons were there even before, then the parties contracting, that is the State Department and the contractor, ought to have known these issues exist, and therefore plan, knowing that, to implement the project, knowing that these issues exist. But to then say later that the ministry could not liquidate damages because the reasons were justifiable, yet they knew before, unless they tell us they didn't know of these reasons prior to even signing any contract, then I don't think it is right to say that you could not ask for liquidated damages.
Yes, PS.
Honorable Chair, with your permission, I will ask the person in charge of the project, Bwana Elijah Mungai, to respond.
Okay. Yes. Where's the microphone for him? State your name and position, then you respond.
Thank you, Chair and members. My name is Elijah Mungai. I'm in charge of projects. So, on reasons for delay, some of them, yes, Chair, were known, and some of them we came to experience them during the implementation. For instance, the one on keeping in abeyance, this was a letter that came from the head of public service and directed the ministry to hold in abeyance so that they could reconcile the requirements of the CBC with what had been planned during the in the design of the project. So that may not have been known. On the issue of status, we have a complete report on where each of the sub-projects reached at the time of the closure of the big project, of the total project, and this is a document that we can be able to submit. Chair, on on these cost escalations, there are two costs involved. One, there was the payment for the consultants, which was a huge cost. There was a payment for contractors, which was a huge cost. But then now, as you notice from our response, we are saying the resources will be sent to the school, meaning we have been able to defray most of the cost, and therefore the amount which will be sent to the school, for instance, if it is for a laboratory, is the same amount that we are sending currently in the labs that we are constructing, which has been informed by the market rates. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Marianne.
Chair, listening to the response from the officer, then it is wrong to summarize the reasons, being 5 reasons to meet the 30 projects, the number of the 30 classrooms, the 40 laboratories, the 4 water projects, the 471 sanitary blocks. We then needed, for each project, tell us why it stalled. Because each project will have a different reason. Like the letter from Head of Public Service does not affect all the projects. It is specific. The cost escalation did not affect all projects. It is specific. And therefore, for the reasons that were known, what then did they do? Because you cannot then bring it out and have a summarize to say, we knew there was insecurity in West Pokot, and we still awarded, and therefore we terminate because of insecurity. You knew. So why did we do it? We would have taken this project elsewhere. And finally, Chair, now that these projects are now ghost projects, because they are ghost projects, they've stalled halfway somewhere. What is the ministry planning to do to ensure that they are completed? Because we cannot leave projects hanging because of whatever reasons they've given. What plans do they have to ensure that these projects are completed and the final structures are put to use as was intended?
Yes, what is the status of the projects?
I will still allow Mungai to give the status, with your permission.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. And I wish Chair to refer to specific to sub-project. And number two, the question on the stalled project, Chair, if you allow, I would request that we move to when we are answering the question, because it appears on 533.4. Therefore, we can take it from there if you allow. Thank you, Chair.
You make that request through the PS.
Sorry, making it through the PS.
Because it's the accounting officer. Yes, Marianne.
Chair, what I would want to see is a table for each project, the reasons for.
Are you able to do a tabulation of the table? A project, the column showing reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that can be done.
If it can be done, when can you provide it?
Within the 2 weeks that we have been given.
Yes, Mase.
Yeah, you know, the audit query requires specific and very clear responses. If you look at these responses, they are too general. This is what I would call copy and paste from, prior year. If it was a similar query, I hope this was not a prior year query. When you say insecurity in certain areas, as cited by contractors and consultants as a reason, I would have expected to see that this number of projects in area B and C, and at that particular time, the prevailing insecurity circumstance was A, B, C, D. And then give us, attach some documentary evidence. All of this, poor road conditions in some areas, and the disruptions to work caused by heavy rains. Which period, which area? It's not every area that was affected by that. These are generalized responses and do not really satisfactorily address the query. All of them up to number 4.
Chair, and as the answer is that, Chair, I don't know which head of public service response we are looking at, but I'm looking at the one 533.3A, and it does not stop. It actually tells them to do these works in a certain way. So I don't know if there's another one. If there is, if I can be guided. The Cabinet Secretary for Education and the Principal Secretary to hold and place in abeyance the disbursement of the resources committed by government through the development under this project, and then that the reports be submitted to this office by 6th February 2021. It has timelines for which, because the head of public service did not give an ultimatum for final stoppage. It was that they were not being done to align to a policy response. So they were directing them to do certain things, and then after you've done, they give them further direction. So with this letter then, and a report be done by 6th February, then is that report then part of what is here? And if it is not, then it needs to be submitted, because it forms part of the circular.
PS, is that report part of the appendices?
Unless my team confirms whether it is part of it, I don't think so. Maybe
if
you
it's
can
part
confirm.
of it, then you point out where it
Can you
is.
confirm? Is it there? Bwana Mugai, is it part of the, I've not seen it personally.
We'll cross-check, but we have it, sir.
So it's not part of it. The submitted documents to the committee, is it part of the submitted documents? That's the question.
Through the PS, sir, we are checking the records. If it's not there, we will submit.
Which records are you checking? I thought you are making reference in that booklet.
Yes, we have it, yes, sir.
If members don't have it, then you don't have it. Unless if you are having a different response pamphlet from us.
Honorable Chair, I don't think it is there, so we will provide.
When are you going to provide it, PS?
Actually, within, I think the 2 weeks you have given us, we'll probably have to do everything and provide whatever is missing.
Within 2 weeks. Is that okay, Marianne?
Yes, and that should include a table
The
of all of them, so
yes.
indicating reasons.
Yeah.
Plus this report that now the PS, the head of public service, then requested, because that should have informed them what next to do.
Yes, auditor, continue.
Thank you, Chair. We got 533.5 stored construction projects. The project status and progress reports indicates 267 projects in 3 counties with a contract sum of Kenya shillings 344,235,750 had stalled. The projects were distributed as follows: Tana River County 67, Kwale County 186, and Taita Taveta County 14. However, no explanation was provided for the stalled projects. Further, no evidence of liquidated damages being claimed and paid by the contractors was provided for audit. In addition, the performance boards had expired and exposes the project to loss of funds. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, PS, response.
Management response. The observation is noted and management wishes to clarify as follows. Some sub-projects in Kwale, Tana River, and Taita Taveta stalled due to the following reasons: adverse weather and natural calamities, unforeseen substructure conditions such as waterlogged soils which required revision of the designs, poor road access to some of the schools, insecurity in certain areas, delays in commencement which led to escalation of material costs while contracts did not provide for variation, suspension of construction in Kwale and Tana River due to safeguard compliance lapses, hostility toward non-local contractors, including exorbitant labor rates and sabotage. Despite these challenges, the ministry implemented several measures to address delays, stalling, and commencement of works. 1, extended the contracts based on acceptable reasons submitted by contractors, Appendix 533.4. A. 2, held regular meetings with contractors to monitor progress, Appendix 530. 3, conducted joint technical infrastructure support missions with the World Bank, Appendix 533.4b. Reviewed and adopted designs to suit terrain and ground conditions, Appendix 533.4c. Worked collaboratively with the Ministry of Interior to monitor and address insecurity, Appendix 533.4d. Continually monitored progress through weekly progress reports, C69 report attached, Appendix 533.1g. In preparation for the project closure, a joint inspection and remeasurement was conducted by a team comprising the DCCs and SCCs, the technical officers from Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Public Works. See attached final inspection report, Appendix 533.4e. This informed the liquidation of damages and other monies owed by some contractors to the client, Appendix 533.3c and Appendix 533.4f. However, the liquidated damages could not be effected since the matter is under arbitration. As such, the ministry has not breached the law. The project was officially closed on 31st December 2024. However, the ministry remains committed to completing the stalled sub-projects as per the attached final inspection report. In addition, the ministry has adopted a new model for infrastructure implementation, disbursing funds to schools. This approach is already being applied under the KPIL program, also funded by the World Bank and the Global Partnership for Education, GPE. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I submit.
Yes, Marianne, then Professor.
Chair, I think this query is similar to the one just before.
Yes.
They need to provide a table of each particular project, what happened, and more importantly, even the reasons given, adverse weather and natural calamities. Where did they get that reason? And which project was affected by adverse weather and natural calamities? Is it all the projects in Tana River, in Taita Taveta? Is it all of them? And foreseen substructure conditions, such as waterlogged soils, is it in all of them? So, and who actually identified them? Number two, Chair, they've said that there were reports that were done between the State Department for Public Works and themselves, and they've actually done an appendix of 533.4 because this was structural issues and were joined. But when I look at those reports, I don't see Public Works. I only see a company called Anchor that is giving certain recommendations, but then it doesn't talk about whatever is being said here about closing down these projects. And finally, Chair, just like I said, because they've said they've now structured these projects to be completed differently, can they give a status of each as at now? Have they now been completed? Are they still now in process? Because they said they were going to send the monies to schools, and they've been guided, and the schools have been guided how to complete those projects. But can we get the status? So if we get the status of why they stalled, with the reasons, and then now the current status. Thank you.
Yes. Chair. Yes. I read you are not present when I was given.
But you have contributed a lot. Why don't you allow him to take it first, then you come?
No, he has been busy.
Oh.
So let him rest first of all. He's taking a breather, then he can continue. Chair, through Chair and through the PS, there is, you say number 6 in your response, some of the reasons why the project stalled: suspension of construction in Kuala and Tana River due to safeguard compliance lapses. I know I went to school. I'm here to understand what do you mean by safeguard compliance lapses. You need to let us know exactly what that constitutes. Secondly, but of major concern, some of the reasons you have given here would indicate there was no, the natural process of project management was never followed. Because before an architect designs, he needs to go to site and check whether the site actually exists or not. Before an engineer designs a substructure, or to go to the ground and test the soils, whether the depth of excavation and those kind of things. Does it mean that this project was executed without following the basics project management procedures? Thank you, Chair. You can now allow Honorable Nabi to ask the question. He has not rested enough.
Yes, Honorable Nabi, it's your turn to ask.
Chair, are you saying that Wano Undo is a co-chair for him to allow me?
No, he's a fake chair. He's not a co-chair, but a fake chair.
Fake. Yeah. Now, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, if you look at the 2 questions before, or the questions of SEQUIP, and this question, or this audit query, there are 2 critical things you see. 2. And Chair, I want to declare interest here. I oversight this department in another committee. Chair, any project the Ministry of Education has supervised from headquarters has a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. All of us here represent constituencies. You will agree with me that the poorly made laboratories are those supervised from the headquarters. The incomplete projects, including classrooms that were for CBE,
yes, CBE.
Poorly done, very poorly done.
but paid for fully. Paid for fully. Now, I've wondered why this ministry, knowing very well they can partner with NGCDF. One, because NGCDF has capacity to supervise. Two, they have a history of performance in terms of delivery of projects. Why they keep supervising projects from the headquarters? Now, if you look at the response, they are talking of DCC and sub-county director. Just listen. Those two. In fact, they don't even involve the public works person in the inspection. They don't. Because they know the public works person, because he has capacity, he will tell them, don't pay. This thing is poorly done. So, Chair, can the accounting officer tell us why they insist on supervising projects at the headquarters, knowing very well they have no capacity?
Yes, Mercy.
Just on the same. There's one such programs, I don't know whether it is SEQUIP or which one, I'll get details and I'll give it to the PS. The award is given at the headquarters to one individual, say to cover the whole of Western Kenya. Now this guy comes to the ground, it must have been SEQUIP. If you look at the structures, the quality of work, I don't even want, some of them are already cracked. And you know why the quality of work? Because I went deep, I wanted to find out why. This contractor who has been given the tender subcontracts at a very low cost local contractors. So the local contractor looks at the kind amount they are being paid, and it's not even paid on time. They invest their money. It takes a whole year. Some of them even had to wait for a whole year to be paid. They abandoned the work, or they did a very poor job on the ground. If the ministry doesn't have capacity, channel the money through NGCDF. And these members will do a very good job on your behalf. And you can come and launch. Because we are the experts. We oversighted by the ministry, you know, from the engineers at the county, sub-county, auditors, internal, external, even the board auditors will come and then you come and launch. And you see the quality. Go to this institution and see the quality of the work done by NGCDF vis-a-vis what has been done by the ministry. And there is no comparison, like day and night. Some of them, I pulled them down to put up a better class because it was going to collapse on my students.
PS, I hope you can hear the complaints of members. What do you have to say?
Honorable Chair, first of all, the projects that are normally done, most of the projects actually we usually send, if you look at let me give an example of the infrastructure funds that goes to schools. We normally send direct to the schools. The schools do the construction with the guidance of the Board of Management, and of course the public works at that particular level. So actually most of the funding that we give is direct to the schools. However, there are certain projects which are not very many, that I think that are normally done if either because of the designs of the donors or a program that is supposed to be done within a fast time. So it's not really that every time the headquarters supervises most of the project. I think it was only once when we were beginning with the CBC process that a number of classrooms were done that was supervised by the ministry. And the ministry, while supervising, always uses the public works. There is really no work that we do as a ministry that we do not depend on public works to be able to ascertain the quality. So I would like to assure members that we will obviously keep on ensuring that the projects that are being undertaken, either directly through the schools or through the donors, or in some instances where the ministry itself supervises some major programs, we will ensure that the required quality is observed.
I had asked, what is this animal called? Safeguard compliance lapses.
Honorable Chair, through the Chair, I can ask Bwana Mungai, the Director, projects, maybe to elaborate on this issue of safeguards.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. This was a component within the design itself, that as we do the brick and mortar, can we also ensure that the safety of learners is assured, the safety of workers is assured, and that all the requirements in terms of management of noise, management of waste, all those issues which surround safety and health are addressed, including the workers' insurance, including the signs, the signature, what is called signage, and holding the sites. So what happened in this area, Chair, sir, through the PS, is that in Kwale, the contractor did not facilitate those processes which are required to ensure that the area is safe, the workers are okay, and all that I have alluded in my opening statement. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so PS, it's 1:05 East Africa time. We haven't finished the queries. We have those that we have pended, and we have those that were omitted. So in total, plus the 2 remaining, it comes to almost 10 queries, which you need to bring responses. Yes. So we don't want to continue, because where Professor Undo comes from, when it's lunchtime, it's lunchtime. Yeah, you don't joke with lunchtime. Yeah, the rights of... So, PS, before I adjourn, do you have something to say before I adjourn the session?
Honorable Chair and honorable members, just to thank you for the guidance, and also to assure the honorable committee that we will be able to provide what has been directed within the 2 weeks that we have promised. And I want to thank the members very much. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yeah. And Nabi, what do you want to say before I adjourn?
Thank you, Chair. PS, you have come into a ministry that has 3 critical problems. Number one, in the past, the award never counted. So please make sure your word counts. When you tell us, you'll give us response. When you give the public a communication, it should be a communication that has value. Number 2, no.
Yes, what's the problem, Mugo? What's the problem?
No, I thought you had adjourned the meeting.
No, this is AOB.
Yes, Nabi finalized the...
You know, he's suffering from DCP hangover.
Please.
So
you
we understand. We understand. The second issue, PS, for real, this issue about Nemis Chemis. From where I sit, tell the people who are configuring this to tell you the truth. We have a commitment on hazard that the changeover was supposed to be free. Now, where these billions are now being configured, some of us will not allow it, because we know that meeting of semester that came up with some billions to pay is not a real meeting. Finally,
has been missing in this ministry. Equity. A school was built in a forest somewhere from scratch with no students at 75 million. When I have students in a school learning in a tent, equity.
And PS, I want you to note that Honorable Nabi is a member of the Education Committee, and also Mase, she's also a member of the Education Committee. And it looks like the State Department was treating Education Committee less important. And that's why he has got the microphone in park. And you can see how he's now talking. And that's what we want you to address. Yeah, because it looks like the Education Committee is not being taken serious. Yes, they are not working. Yeah, and when the departmental committee is not working and it lands here,
those are accountability issues.
Yes, and it becomes very serious.
Yes.
So please address the issues that have been raised. I know you are capable. You are still new, but you are capable. And also I want to commend you. Many PSs who have come before us have been not even able to answer 10 questions. Yeah, yes, but you need to work harder to improve the sector. Yes, Mase?
I just wanted to tell you that the ministry has started working now.
No,
we sit in that committee and we have struggled.
No, what
we have
I'm
had
saying,
challenges, but now I can tell you,
No.
we, as a
What we
committee,
have
we have
said-
confidence that this ministry is going to deliver.
Honorable Mase, I've encouraged you that if they don't listen to you in the education committee, bring it here. Yes. Even Mariana has done so in trade, and we have helped them. So please bring it here. We shall also help you as PAC.
Chair, I have just told you we had challenges.
The meeting is adjourned to another date. We shall give
all
the
those
date
who want
to
to
them.
join the DCP can see Mugo.